Hi, welcome to NWOBHM Guitar Tuition. Today is Killing Machine Day, Judas Priest, hence Halford's cap. This is when Priest really embraced the studs and leather. Released October the 9th today, 1978, it's 45 years old. This is certainly one of the greatest Judas Priest albums, and probably my third favourite of all time. It used to be kind of number 6, and then it's just crept up slowly over the years. So first time I heard this, my brother got it back in 81, I think. He'd been on a trip to Edinburgh, got it from one of the big record shops like H&V or Virgin. And it has a different sound. It has a completely different sound to the Stained Class. There's not really much similarity, I don't think. It's got a kind of heavier sound. It's got a more punchy snare. The songs are kind of shorter and more direct, I think, picking up on the influence of possibly touring with a band like Kiss, and obviously the advent of Van Halen 1. So they brought in James Guthrie as producer for this. They'd like working with him on Better By You, Better Than Me, and this is a good move. Guthrie gets more punch on the snare. On some tracks, I would say on Burning Up and certainly Evil Fantasies, the snare sounds fantastic, really good, and it kind of belies the idea that Les Binks didn't have any power. Toms are used really good. There's much more. I'd say the gain is about 20-30% more gain on the rhythm guitars on this. The tracking's really good. But we'll go through all that. It's only 35 minutes long. So in actual fact, in America, it's called Hellbent for Leather. So I'm going to review Killing Machine. So I'm going to omit the Green Man Alicia. I actually skip that track when I play it. Not because I don't like the Green Man Alicia. It's great. The studio version's good. I prefer the live version. It's just that I was kind of weaned on the... like I say, the Killing Machine 10-track version. They recorded this August, September 78, so it was literally a year virtually after the Stained Class sessions, and it came out, and they did the rare thing, they produced 2 seminal albums in 1 year. Metal bands to do that is Sabbath, Zeppelin, not that they're metal, but an influence on it, Saxon. There's not many bands have accomplished this, and I think the 2 that Priest did are right up there. This also gave them their first minor hit single with Take on the World, and Evening Star was a minor hit that was on Top of the Pops. They did video for Rock Forever as well. So this is the final studio album for Les Binks as well. So this is where the Halford, Downing, Tipton writing axis starts to take shape more. There's still individual credits, but it was obviously clear at this point, whatever they decided, that's kind of becoming more prevalent. The opening track, Delivering the Goods, it's Rob Halford, Keke and Glenn Tipton. 4 minutes 16. Beloved track amongst Priest fans and bands, so I'm just moving the camera a bit. Obviously, Skid Row covered this as well. Superb track. First time I heard this was on the B-side of Living After Midnight. It was a live version, which you can get on the Unleashed in the East remaster. Amazing song. Just great. A great production. Great drum thing at the end by Les Binks. Superb solo by Glenn Tipton. And I just love the lyric. It's just all about going to the gig and, Priest delivering the goods and just the excitement of the live show. Next track, again, it's Halford, Downing, Tipton. I'm guessing KK's got first credit because it's alphabetical, so they're kind of crediting Rob because he's a lyricist on these, and then Downing and Tipton. But later on, I think it was Tipton, Halford, Downing was the what they settled on. So that would suggest Glenn writing more music. But Rock Forever, this is a great track. It sort of has a cool boogie. Again, dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. They're kind of using the same feel that they used at the end of White Heat Red Hot on the Stained Class album, and I suppose maybe they're picking up on the Halen vibe, bit Detroit Rock City. Really cool, nice guitars on this, nice little harmony solo, great vocal by Rob, and that pre-solo stacked harmony, Rock Forever, brilliant. 3 minutes 19, just again already the tracks, these tracks are shorter than the Stained Class ones. That 3:19 shorter than the 2 shorter tracks on Stained Class. You got Evening Star. This is a Halford Tipton composition. I really like this. Some people knock it, but I always loved it. I'll always love the kind of melody and the major chorus, and you can hear like there's nice kind of high chords, little 2-note dyads as it were on the chorus. Nice solo by Glenn, quite gutsy, quite gnarly. And after the solo, you've got that really cool breakdown. And it's got those nice R's, you know, kind of a bit 10cc, those R's, aren't they? I like the clean sound, acoustic. Maybe a little of that D major, a little bit Boston influence, maybe. You know, you've got to think Priest is sort of picking up on this stuff. But I think it's a great tune. Then Hellbent for Levis is a soul composition by Glenn Tipton. It's quite unusual because the lyrics are kind of very sci-fi biker, and you expect Halford to write something like that. But obviously Glenn Tipton had written lyrics like I'm not Staying Class, it wasn't on White Heat Red Hot, where he's kind of conjuring up that kind of imagery. Again, 241, all-time classic. Great solo in this where Glenn explores two-handed tapping, so he's obviously been listening to Halen. He does a really cool job of structuring his own little thing. Great pinch harmonic in the solo as well. You know, great. I mean, it's not my favourite track now. I've probably heard it too many times. I mean, Delivering the Goods and Rock Forever, prefer those, but Hellbent for Levis is a classic. And then side one finishes with probably the weakest track, Take on the World. I mean, I like it. It's the first Judas Priest song I ever heard. At that time, I was so young, I thought Judas Priest was a person. And this was January 79 on Top of the Pops. So I thought Rob Halford was this man called Judas Priest. If you go on YouTube, you'll find the footage of it. It's Halford and Tipton, obviously the techno leaf out of Queen, We Will Rock You. And it worked well for them. They got a minor hit, whether the record company hyped it a bit. And it helped the album charts, you know. Actually, they only charted at number 32. This was coming up with Christmas, so in 78, so that may have hindered it, but it certainly set them up for a bigger tour. And then Unleashed in the East was top 10. But I saw them play live actually. I went to the Royal Albert Hall in 2006. It was Teenage Cancer Trust gig, and I played this. It was great to sing along with it. So yeah, it's not the best track, but it's cool. Side 2 opens up with my favourite deep cut on the album. I mean, if you know, Delivering the Goods might be my favourite track, but Burning Up's fantastic. It's kind of funky. You know, they never did anything funky like this. And it's got the a little funky top part. Great production on this. The drum sounds really good. Loads of kick on the bass drum, loads of snap on the snare. If you listen to the verses, the guitar track is really good, and the distortion, the gain's just much more there. I think this is the first. Obviously, Van Halen ones comes out this year, but I think this is the first heavy metal album where you're starting to get the sound of like how a heavy metal album should sound. I mean, Sabbath were doing heavy stuff, but my only thing with Sabbath, you know, the bass is pretty distorted. Sometimes the rhythm guitar sounds a little more sludgy, and I mean that in a good way. Sometimes the drums aren't sort of balanced as they should be for me, and I think on this track, a track like this, you can hear the drums, bass and guitars are sitting and sounding how they should sound for a heavy metal track. And then you've got Halford like doing a really great rock vocal in the middle of the mix. It was formed in 7. This is Downing Tipton, so I'm guessing KK's maybe come up with a lot of the riffage, and maybe Tipton's done the lyrics. Really cool. KK does a solo, I think. What's great about this is when it breaks down, or is it before it goes for the solo? It's got these kind of it's actually pans, so you've got like one comes left, one comes right. The breakdown, and you got the keyboard as well, almost organ sound after just before the solo. Yeah, I like the end of it as well. Cool fill, that tom fill at the end. Great track. So at this point in the album, the Green Man Alicia comes in. But obviously, because I was used to the Killing Machine album, I am used to hearing the track Killing Machine come in. So on our vinyl back in the day, it was Killing Machine. This is another great track written by Tips. It's only 3 minutes and 1 second. Again, it accomplishes so much. It's got that really innovative intro where Glenn plays the riff, breaks into feedback, and KK plays the opposite side. This is copied by Slayer on South of Heaven. Quite interesting drum pattern on this. It's almost not emphasising the snare, and then you've got that dun 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 dun, and that riffage would be kind of cribbed by Accept for London Leather Boys. So there you go. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, it's great. It kind of bounces off. I think it's F sharp. Yeah, it's a superb track. And then Tipton writes the next track, Running Wild. This is a really well-known track from Unleashing East. Really like this track. Again, probably not as much as some of the other ones, but it's great. 2 minutes 58 again. I wonder on this album if they kind of went, oh, we've got to do another album, and they just went, oh, well, let's just, instead of like taking these 5-6 riffs and putting them in one song, they just went, well, we'll make one song out of those and one song out of those. But it certainly predates what happened on British Steel, which is even more stripped down and simple, which some older fans didn't like. They wanted those complicated riffs, they wanted the progressive Priest. I mean, I would argue, I don't think this album's very progressive. I think there's kind of a more variety of material, but there's not, you know, it doesn't stretch out. It's got those lean arrangements, but it's not as AC/DC-fied as British Steel. But Priest had to change, you know, you can't keep making, it's like Rush, you know, they couldn't keep making, you know, track albums with 4 tracks on. It's just eventually you expunge that creative urge out of yourself and you move into something different. So Running Wild's cool KK solo, good feedback at the end. And then you've got the ballad Before the Dawn. And again, they never really did a ballad like this. Again, it's like just all acoustic with nice synthesizer, no drums. Really well tracked, the acoustic sound on this. Lovely KK solo. And yeah, this is kind of a thing that would be weaned out. This is the last time you'd hear a track like this ever, really. I mean, you kind of got Beginning of the End, or a track on the Redeemer of Souls, or maybe Nostradamus, Lost Love. But there's nothing like that. You know, again, so it's Halford Downey Tipton. This one 3:23. Again, it's just really short and sweet. And then it finishes with Evil Fantasies. Again, Halford Downey Tipton's 4:15. She's just got mega drum sound on this. So I can't understand really why that drum. Maybe it's because of the space in the song. I've just enlarged the sound of the room, or it's got a reverb on it. Really good, cool slide guitar on this. Like the way it goes into double time at the end. Yeah, so Green Man Unleashed is 3:23. So yeah, it's actually just, I seem to remember the vinyl being under 35 minutes. But yeah, it's a great record. Like I say, it's kind of a little more varied than I think Stay in Class is a very focused album. You can sort of look at that and go, it's this and this. Whereas with this album, it's kind of got more elements. And that's probably why I prefer Stay in Class, but it's a good listen, this. You know, it's in that Purple Patch era where Priest are just doing great music after great music. And it's so different from Stay in Class, I think, and Sin After Sin. And it, like I say, it sets the template going forward and the image, of course. Okay, so Killing Machine, 45 years old today. What an album. Thanks for checking out. I'll see you soon.